Hello, I am filled with rage. Let's talk about it. I started getting messages from authors asking me if I knew that Barnes& Noble had just started a publishing house, which they have not. So I was like, they have not, but they do have a press where you can put your book, although I and a lot of other self-published authors are on the fence about why we would put a book in there when if you put a book in Ingram, it will automatically go into Barnes& Noble. But that's beside the point for a whole other video. The Barnes& Noble publishing house, right? I after I was talking about it and trying to figure out who it was, I started seeing this ad. Okay, that looks a little sus because it's offering services that Barnes & Noble doesn't offer, like ghostwriting and editing and cover design and stuff like that. And it's kind of using the name Barnes & Noble. So, because, I think I'm a journalist, I called them. And they said, hello, this is the Barnes & Noble Publishing House. And they said, is this Barnes & Noble? And they said, oh, we can help you get your book in Barnes & Noble. And I said, but is this Barnes & Noble? And they said, well, we're literary business associates of Barnes & Noble's. And I was like, but is this Barnes & Noble? And finally, they admitted that, in fact, they are not Barnes & Noble. But it took so much digging. And the reason this infuriates me is because a self-published author already has enough going on, right? They're already confused. They already are trying to learn the whole system. And when somebody like this comes and kind of suggests the fact that they may be working with a big publisher like this, they will trust them. And then years from now, they will be like, oh, but Barnes & Noble did my book and it's not doing well and I don't know why and I can't get a hold of anyone. And it's because that's not Barnes & Noble. Eventually, they did admit that they were not Barnes & Noble, but they wanted to see if they could do my book with me, and I didn't want to do a book with them, so they hung up on me. And so I messaged them and asked them why they would use the name Barnes & Noble and let people think they were Barnes & Noble. Like, if they have a legitimate service, why would they keep using the name Barnes & Noble in their branding and their logo and their Facebook page? And they had no answer and ghosted me. So I guess this is just a PSA for self-published authors. This service might be offering something, but they're not Barnes & Noble, and I don't want people thinking that they are. That's publishing news for today.